rest. For more time off I cannot ask. Wake me up when November ends. Nothing good comes out too fast, so don't put Yoshi on blast. Just wake me up when November ends. We should be leveling and hanging on the moon. Estinian could go with us and floor tank like a goon. The countdown has come and passed. For more time off I cannot ask. Wake me up when November ends.
The following podcast does contain some mature language, and more importantly, at moments does contain some story spoilers for the main story questline of Final Fantasy XIV. While we do appreciate you listening to this podcast and listening to us share our experiences, we want you to have the best experience possible in the main story questline, and suggest that you complete it up through Shadowbringers before listening to this podcast. With that said, enjoy the show. From the many realms of Eorzea to the distant reaches of the two moons via the magic of podcasting, this is episode 1 of A Podcast Reborn, a show celebrating our journey in the past, present, and possible future of Final Fantasy XIV. This episode is being recorded on Saturday, November 13th of 2021, just 6 days until we wait 2 more weeks for Endwalker. My name is Brian Black, otherwise known as Ro. And with me, as always, can I say that on episode 1, is the gremlin who's always clapping for Cap'n in Animal Crossing, Megan. How you doing, Megan?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, that's fairly accurate as to what I've been doing. They delayed my Endwalker, so I've run back to Animal Crossing.
And you've broken out into song. I've got to say, kudos to you on that little song at the front of the show. When we heard of the delay, I'm like, for those who aren't familiar with Megan from her stuff on Warcraft Trolls, the Warcraft Trolls podcast had a lot of parody songs. She would do all sorts of parody songs. I even collabed on like 1 or maybe 2 of them. And when the delay happened, I'm like, oh my gosh, there has to be a Wake Me Up When November Ends thing. And I just kind of put it out. I put that energy out there and didn't really expect too much to happen. And then a day before we record, Megan's like, yeah, I did this thing.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I get bored and I just put on YouTube karaoke, and I was like, oh, I like that song. Maybe I can just write up some quick lyrics for it. And so I did, and I did it. I was a musical theater kid when I was in high school, so that's my music background. I play a little bit of ukulele. That's my one instrument. So I'm not really a musician. I just, I like to sing. And yeah, I would literally be like, Disney songs karaoke. I'm sure my neighbors are just thrilled with me.
Well, I would be totally fine with Disney songs. Half of my friends break out into spontaneous Disney song if the mood strikes them. Also with us, of course, is a man who has more alts than I have thumbs or tails. I don't even know what that means. Hi, Brandon.
Hi there, Ro. It's great to be here. The rains have ceased, and we have been blessed with yet another beautiful day. I mean, 2 weeks. But as usual, you are not here to see it. Because we're not a video podcast, you're listening to it.
Oh, 2 weeks. So, I mean, we got to start with there, right? I'd say this is probably something that's asked on every Final Fantasy XIV podcast, and I'm going to not deviate from the formula because why not? Everyone's talking about the delay. Let's talk about the delay. Brandon, how did you feel when you found out? I don't know if you checked out the live letter live or whether you found out after the fact. How did you feel when you learned of the Endwalker 2-week delay?
Probably like most people, I felt a mixture of emotions. On the one hand, I was really, really glad I didn't put in for that Friday off because, I mean, it wouldn't have been difficult to change it given my work situation. But, you know, at least I didn't have to go through that. On the other hand, I was really, really looking forward to having it be so close. I was worried I wouldn't get all my goals accomplished, but at the same time, I'm kind of running out of things to do in Shadowbringers that I really want to accomplish, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with myself for another 2 weeks until we get some new MSQ.
I mean, is there an alt that you haven't made yet? Have you made a Lalafell alt? It's only a matter of time.
Join me.
I actually have, but it was only to make fun of, excuse me, it was only to make fun of my friend Lash on our original server before I joined AIE full-time and convinced him to come over. I made a Lalafell Arcanist that I leveled up to like level 2 just by virtue of running around and doing exploration. And its name is Lash is a Potato. And given that man hates Lalafells with a passion, he was not very happy. But I found it hilarious.
Man, I love Lalafells. I will not apologize.
I saw a picture of your new Lalafell gremlin.
Yes.
What's the story behind that?
Okay, so I wanted to make a character on Goblin, not just because that's where you guys are, but because some of Ward's fraternity brothers are on there. Mm-hmm. He just recently met up with them, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're playing this game. Maybe you should play too." We're like, "Oh!" So I wanted an end game character. So and all the boosts are half off, and I was like, you know what? I've always wanted a Lala, and I've never made one. I've been cat girl for life, but no. So now it's 2 cat girl and Potato. And yeah, she's a summoner. And you also get Scholar for free, but now I have to go back and do all the class quests. So that's going to be interesting. But mostly I've just been doing, like, crafting, because I've never done that before either.
Ooh.
I'm branching out. I'm really bad at it, though. Like, I keep finding all of these, like, online resources and then using them wrong. Like, I found this... website that was like, we will craft a macro for you for while you're making all the Sky Builder stuff. Like, just put in your level and your whatever. And I'm like, okay. And like, I put it in wrong, so it thought I had way more CP than I did. So I was just like completely running out, and I'd be trying to do like 10 spells and nothing would happen. And then it would be like low quality and they wouldn't even take it. And so I'm like, why? And then I'm like trying.
Was it Teamcraft?
Maybe.
That sounds like Teamcraft to me.
It does.
So then I'm just like trying to make my own crafting macros by like trying to remember the order in which I did things and then write that down, and then I'm screwing that up, so I'm just like wasting all these materials, and I'm like, I'm really bad at this. This is why I don't do this. But yeah, eventually I figured out how to make the macro crafter thing work right. And now I'm just like on easy mode, making a million hemp teas. Those Elzins, they really like their hemp. Mm-hmm. A lot of hemp things, hemp ropes, hemp teas. So as far as I can tell, they're getting high on hemp tea and they're tying each other up with hemp ropes. Cool. No more dragons to fight. Got to keep busy. You.
Actually, it's Ishgard, so they're cold, not cool.
Oh, that's right. Yes, ice cold. Oh my gosh. So yes,
it's cooler than being cool.
So I'm also having a lot of fun just doing the MSQ for Shadowbringers as a Potato, because she's so adorable and tiny, and I've always wanted to have a character wearing like the werewolf ears, the big fuzzy ears. But if you wear big fuzzy ears on a cat girl, then you're like a quad ear, and it looks ridiculous. So I've always wanted like a non-cat girl person just for that. So I'm like, yeah. So I'm running around in like the werewolf ears and like a maid dress. So it's like, I may not actually be a cat girl, but I'm cosplaying one.
Nice.
Right. You are a cat girl gremlin hybrid.
Yes. And it's just great every time someone's like, here is the greatest hero, our greatest hope. And I'm just like, yes, I am shorter than your knees.
You know, one thing that I realized, there are no native potatoes to the first, are there?
No, there are. They're dwarves.
Yeah, there are.
They wear helmets. That's the other thing.
So the dwarves are the Lalafels. Okay, I didn't even think about that. See, when I saw the dwarves in Shadowbringers, my mind just makes an immediate like connection to like an homage to the old Final Fantasy games. I didn't even make the connection of, hey, this could be what the Lalafels turned out to be.
Well, they are actually. They're under their helmets. They are Lalafels. Like they have the Lalafel face. That's like their culture, is that they wear these big helmets with the fake beards on them. And actually, one of you know how there's like the different class role quests that you do.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually about to bring that up. The healer role quest gets into this a lot.
And I'm really curious about it because I haven't finished leveling up my scholar quests, so I haven't done that one yet. But I am like, is he gonna like act like I'm real sus because I'm a little Lala with no helmet on? Because he's like a little tank. He's a little dwarf tank, and he's getting drunk at the bar, and he's like, we have to go take down the, what are they called? The they're not primevals. That's a Diablo thing.
Sin Eaters?
Yeah, we have to go take down the big sin eater of the Lala White Mage. He calls her Dwarf White Mage. He's like,
Cardinal Virtues is what you're
yeah, there we go. Cardinal Virtues. We have to take her out because she's a dwarf, and she's running around with her face exposed, and she's embarrassing us. And so if I rock up in my friggin' cat ears and maid dress, like, what the hell is he gonna think of me?
That's a good point.
Oh, I've done that quest. Go ahead and get ready to make fun of me for my alcoholism, Ro. I've done that role quest 3 times, and I could spoil the hell out of it for you if you want. But
I've done it on my
really
main.
Good.
I'm just like, I've never done it as Lala. Like, that's kind of also another reason why I wanted to make a Lala to do Shadowbringers, because you can get into the dwarf houses, and I wanted to see, like, do people treat you differently if you're a Lalafell? Because you're supposed to be like a dwarf on the first with these helmets on and stuff. Like, do all the dwarves look at you like, what the hell?
On the topic of role quests, here's me taking things on a tangent. Just a simple yes or no here. Is every role quest designed to hit you in the frickin' feels near the end?
Yes.
My goodness.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
As is the combination quest you get when you do all 4 of them after.
Oh my gosh. That was just... So, I've been working on a tank during this time, and I finally got to the point just a couple of days ago where I did the whole tank roll quest and stuff like that, and man, I thought the caster DPS one hit me in the feels. That one was even worse! It's like, oh my gosh, lost love and all that. So,
the tank one? I haven't done that one yet. I don't like tanking.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I think probably the least feels smacking one is the damage dealing one that's not caster, physical DPS.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
with Lurik?
Yeah,
I swear to God.
I hate that guy so much.
Oh my God, why do you hate Catboys? Catboys are the best. Like Shadowbringers.
Because 9 times out of 10, they're not the best. They're annoying.
No, I love
Rahatia
it.
is her husbando, don't you remember?
Shadowbringers is like full of prime boys. We've got Shere Khan, we've got Lurik, we've got Garaha. Oh, have you noticed they're all Seekers? I don't think there are any Keepers on the first.
Yeah, Seekers are the worst.
No, I love Seekers. I'll kill you.
Oh no, we're about to have our first fight.
No, I'm actually kind of incensed because, as you guys know, I do a lot of fanfic writing for my characters, and I follow a lot of other fanfic writers across various social platforms. And one of them has this Al Ra character that she's had in a relationship with Sid Garland forever, and I always thought her writing for them was super cute. And then just out of nowhere, she decides, oh, I'm changing her story. She's gonna have to like break up with Sid to get back with her real true love, Graha Tia. And I got so goddamn pissed off.
Don't blame Graha. He's not an intentional homewrecker. He's just the best.
He's the worst.
He's not. He's the best. I will fight you.
I already had one of my when I was doing Final Fantasy 14, right? I had one of my characters punch him in the face, and it felt so good.
You cannot tell me that when he's like fawning over Estinian that he's not the cutest thing you've ever seen.
He's the most awkward, cringeworthy thing I've ever seen.
Oh no, he's the best.
Okay, so Graha is Megan's husbando.
Yes.
I've got to give Brandon equal time. Brandon, who is your husbando?
You gotta have one.
I'm thinking.
There's a lot of prime candidates, man. Like, what's your type? We can figure this out.
I'm rolling through my head here, and my brain keeps coming back to Amaric, so I don't know, maybe him?
Yeah, man, he's beautiful.
Yeah?
Oh, my God. Nobody, like, Amaric is, like, the most beautiful boy, I think, in the whole game. He's got that unique model, and he's got that really nice hair. And it's, like, everybody says Estinian is, like, the really pretty one, but I'm like, I don't know, he looks like he needs a nap.
Yeah, you guys are gonna roll your eyes at my answer.
All right, sure. hit us, Ro. What do you got?
It's Emmett.
Oh, come on! The only thing I hate worse than people who ship their characters with Gratia is people who ship their characters with villains.
I'm sorry, I can't help it.
Villains are for murdering, not kissing.
Ooh. Oh, come on. He's very conflicted. And you know that he
He just calls you a mistake to your face.
Yeah, because he's misguided and he could be corrected.
He's a psychopath.
No, he's just lived for too long and it's made him cold. But you could warm his heart again.
Yeah. You know what?
I can see it.
The way we're reacting to Emmett, I have to ask, is Emmett Selk the Sylvanas of Final Fantasy 14?
Probably. Okay. I hate her too.
Okay, what era of Sylvanas? Because, like, she was my waifu for a while, and then it hit a wall or a tree.
I will agree. She was a much less irritating character before BFA / Shadowlands.
Yes.
Look, man, Emmett Selk, you also know that he, like, has had relations with mortals before because he started a whole bloodline, so, like, you can get in on that.
It's true.
Yeah, the last time he did that, we got the Garlean Empire. No, thank you.
Hey, without the... hold on a minute there, buddy. Without the Garlean Empire, you would not have Sid Galrand. Think about that.
Yeah.
A small price to pay for, hundreds of thousands of people not being brutally murdered and or enslaved.
Oh, hey, think about all the people that our main characters take down in questing and stuff like that. That's the one thing, you know what? I will say it's the one thing that I appreciate about some of the storytelling in 14 compared to other MMOs is that more often you see that that the side that you're on isn't just completely clean and pure and in the good. Because, I mean, every side is doing their own share of killing and murdering and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Warcraft had that a lot. Or at least more later. Or it was more, Warcraft tried to say that both sides were, like, equally bad, but we all knew. We all saw what each side did, and we were like, these two things are not equivalent.
But you see, the thing is, in Final Fantasy 14, the opposing, not even really opposing, because it's not like they were against each other, but the multiple factions in 14 don't just group up for the final boss of every expansion. They're grouped up for the whole dang thing.
Yeah. Well, it's also just, like, doing diplomatic stuff is, like, a big part of it, and it, like, stays around and remains relevant. It isn't just like, oh, you made friends for one patch, and then afterwards we will never call upon them again.
That's what I loved about Ishgard, is that, like, once Ishgard was brought into the fold, it's like you see Emmerich often. Ishgard's considered just as much a part of the Alliance as the other three are.
Mm-hmm. And you get to go back and, like, help rebuild it. And there's more story. Everybody's getting along. It's great.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
I'm interested... Now, mind you, I say this, I have not played the very, very last part of 5.5. So I don't know if any of this gets brought up at all. And don't tell me, because this is what I'm waiting for the last part of 5.5 until like a week before Endwalker, just because I want that continuity there. But one of the cool things that I liked about Stormblood in its post-MSQ content was they actually got the Beast Tribes in on the thing for the whole Grand Company of Eorzea. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of the Beast Tribe interaction with all four Grand Companies.
And we're not allowed to tell you about it.
You're not allowed to tell me about it.
Oh, for crying out loud, bro! You know what that does to me.
Hey, give it an episode. By next episode, you'll be able to talk about that with me, because it'll be.
Well, all of the blocks are in place already. Yes. So I don't know. I don't remember what's in each patch because it's been a while.
Yeah.
So I don't. I enjoyed it a lot. I really. I don't want to say. I can't say anything. I liked it.
Nope.
It involved characters I like, but I like everyone.
Yeah. I guess as we are off to kind of like bounce everywhere around here, though, we didn't get back to. So I know Brandon's reaction to the delay. Megan, was yours pretty much the same thing? It's just like, oh well, it's a thing.
Well, yeah, I'm like a freelancer, so I don't have a schedule or anything to worry about. But also, this is my birthday month, so I was like, I'm gonna play it for my birthday. It's gonna be great. Now I'm like, oh, gotta wait an extra month. But it's fine. I'm like, I've got my potato to level. I've got Animal Crossing. I've got, heck, even in the game, I've got like chocobos and crafting. So many things.
Okay, you had mentioned in our Discord chat, and for those since I brought up Discord chat, for those wondering, are we going to have like an official show Discord? The answer is yes, but soon. More details on that to come, just not quite yet.
Not Blizzard soon.
Yeah, not Blizzard soon. But you had mentioned in our Discord about chocobo raising and how and like how much time that takes.
Oh boy.
This is
MGP.
This is something I know very little about. Take me here. So chocobo raising,
okay.
This is specifically for race chocobos, right?
Yes. So you have your companion chocobo, which is the one that can fight with you. And you can train them if you have housing.
Right.
You can put them in the stable and then you can feed them a special root and it'll give them a little XP. It's kind of silly. I don't know. It's way faster to just take them out in the field with you. But for race chocobos, you do that through the Golden Saucer, where you go downstairs, it's in the basement, and you unlock race chocobo training, and they give you your first race chocobo, and you race them and you train them. You buy special feed with MGP, and then every time that they eat the feed, they can eat the feed a certain amount of times per level, and then the feed will boost one of their stats. So you want to focus on the stats that it's weak on. And then when it gets to level 40, you can take it for covering, aka chocobo fucking.
I feel like we need to play some Barry White in the background right now.
So you go to you can buy a covering license and you want to buy it's like totally random, the stats of the one that you either have a male or a female, so you want to buy for the opposite gender.
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally random every time. So I'll usually end up buying like 5 licenses just to try to get one that balances out the stats of the one I have.
Uh-huh.
and then you take that covering license to Bent Branch Meadows, where you do the original Chocobo quests, and then you get to watch a little cutscene of your Chocobo and the other Chocobo, like, making little quay at each other, and then the doors close, and they're like, yeah, come back in half an hour. And you're like, whoa, okay. And then you get another Chocobo, and it will have combined the two stats. And what you want to do is eventually breed the perfect Chocobo. Also, the ones that you cover with have different colors. Your original one is yellow no matter what. So that's how you get like a colored racing Chocobo.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it's like a lot of like, you gotta race to get the experience, to get the levels. Then you need the MGP to buy the feed to train them in between races. And then you gotta get them with the good. I'm doing hand motion. You can't see it.
Yeah.
But
I think we understand which hand motion you're making.
And so, yeah, there's online guides. You could get really in depth with it, but I have never gotten that in depth with it, and I've never gotten to like a dead end or like a, oh no, my Chocobo sucks. Like at some point you will hit a wall eventually, especially when you're getting like up higher in level, because then the other NPCs that you're racing will be faster. And so you've got to like make sure that you've trained them up good enough. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's fun. The racing itself is really fun. And you often end up racing against other players. And then there's like a post-race chat. Like you can't trash talk while you're actually racing, but you can like after. So that's fun. It's just like, it's a lot like Mario Kart. Like there are things you could pick up to screw over other players or to boost yourself. So a lot of, like hitting other people with thorns, and like you can meteor other people. You can
Is there like a blue cactuar or something that you can pick up?
Well, no, it's the meteors.
Oh,
you hit them with a red meteor. It like descends out of the sky on top of their head, blows up, and it takes like all their stamina, so then they can't run anymore.
Oh, wow.
Which usually the way it goes is there's always like there's like 3 different racetracks, and there's always a, what do you call it, like the final stretch of like it's pretty well delineated. You could tell what it is, and so it never seems, it doesn't give the meteor until you're in the final stretch, and so you're always like running down like, don't hit me, don't do it. Or you can, do the Mario Kart thing of trying to let someone else in front of you.
I was going to say, so it's like that last lap all about like everyone trying to be second place and not quite first.
Well, it's only 1 lap, but yes, there is a lot of like, because your effect will always hit who's in front of you if it's a negative effect. Mm-hmm. So there is a lot like, oh, we're about to hit a treasure chest, which is what passes out all the items. So it's like, oh, I don't want to be in front. I want somebody else. Yeah, it's fun. It's like, I have a lot of fun actually doing the racing itself. If it wasn't fun to actually race, then I wouldn't bother with it at all. But I love Mario Kart, so it's natural fit.
Nice.
This is giving me some very, very bad flashbacks to a lot of time spent trying to breed the gold Chocobo in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
It's basically the same thing.
Yeah, that was incredibly frustrating.
But here's the thing.
I think more fun.
What would you do if you bred the perfect Chocobo in stats, but it was the worst color you could imagine? And I don't know what that would be for you.
Like brown.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, Oppo brown. I would get the fanciest birding. Try and just cover his little face. And I would try, I don't know, you can name the Chocobo, that's the other thing. And it's like a list of adjectives and like a list of nouns, like that you can't just put in whatever you want, but you can find some pretty funny combinations. But I don't know, I'd be like trying my best or something like that. Like inner beauty.
I did Chocobo racing just a little bit, just to get a taste of it. I think I did it early before all the stuff with Blizzard happened, and I named my Chocobo Southern Blizzard. Needless to say, I haven't raced Southern Blizzard in a while.
Oh my. Yeah, my always name them after whatever color they are.
Mm-hmm.
I think my current one is Crimson Chariot because it sounded cool.
It does. Sounds like a red mage chocobo.
Yeah. I wanted to name him Red Rocket, but there was no rocket. Well, they have like all of the nouns and stuff. It's like war, battle, racing. I'm like, whoa. War nouns, okay. See, now there's a bunch of really funny. The other thing is like all the NPCs have really funny chocobo names, but now I can't remember any of them.
Gotcha. Brandon, you said that you were running out of things to do, especially now that you have a couple more weeks for Endwalker. So, Megan's racing chocobos. What are you trying to do? Like you said, your list is almost running out. Well, when all the main stuff is done? What's kind of like your end game pastime? Is it glamours, or what do you delve in deeper than anything else?
Well, I mean, I probably since about patch 5.4, I started making a list of things I wanted to do to get prepared for, Endwalker. And then I had some stuff that I wanted to do is like, okay, this is kind of a, maybe not realistic, but let's see how much progress I can make on it. Like one of those stretch goals is what I call them, was to get the Amaro mount on my character that had the most level 80s, which was my cat girl. And I did some calculations at one point and realized, I'm going to have to get 2 levels a day on something if I want to be done by the time early access starts. I'm going to burn myself out if I do that. So we're just going to cross that off the list.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, I'm just looking at the list here. A lot of them are like, okay, get this random job to 80, get these particular relic weapon appearances. I had a goal to clear the Omega raids on both Old Man Franks and my cat girl. But mostly it's just like kind of random side content that I wanted to do. The one thing I haven't done right now is on Reika, my cat girl. I'm trying to get all the crafters to 80. I've got 2 left to go, and they're both at like 75 and 73, I think. So lately I've just literally been logging in, doing the Shadowbringers crafting beast tribe dailies, and then trying to figure out something else to do to amuse myself.
You should try the restoration, man. It's really fast. And all the mats are incredibly cheap.
Yeah, I know. But at the same time, if I do that, then, all the other days I'm going to be like, well, there goes that, plan of something to do. I know I can get them done if I just at least keep the beast tribes available as a thing to do. So I'm trying not to necessarily just,
You could PvP. I've been doing that a lot.
I only PvP just to do the frontline roulette when I feel like leveling something. Or if I'm going after a particular piece of glam.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the Mogstones to get the jacket and the other stuff.
Yep.
It's actually not terrible for leveling. The frontline roulette once a day gives almost as much XP as the MSQ one.
Oh yeah, one time.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, for a lot less time.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, but only the first one. Like outside of that,
first one per day.
Outside of that, it's terrible for leveling.
I may have to do that then, because I'm still working on leveling up Red Mage. I think my Red Mage is... Oh god, I'm about to say this. I think my Red Mage is at 69 now.
It's just pretty fun for PvP. Yeah. My favorite is actually Astrologian, which surprised me. I ended up grabbing it for my cat girl, not my main cat girl. Because I just unlocked Heaven's Ward, and I was like, it was the front line was the one where you gotta like squat on the flags to capture them, and so being a machinist was not super helpful. Like keeping people alive was a lot more helpful, and I'm like, I don't want to have to level White Mage all the way up from 0, so I just grabbed Astrologian, and I was like, this is actually a lot of fun. Like you get to do a lot of random stuff, throw cards at people.
Also, fun fact about the frontline roulette: if you queue into it, as soon as you get into like the little, main area where you're just waiting for the timer to start for the actual match, you can switch jobs in there, and whatever you queued as will be what gets the XP.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Yeah, so you could just queue in there as a White Mage, and as soon as you get inside, swap to, warrior or something. And your white mage will get the daily XP bonus. It's pretty nice.
Is that intended? Or is that kind of exploity? I'm curious.
It's been that way ever since the frontline roulette was a thing, I'm told. So,
then I feel like that's something they would have fixed if it's been that long.
Well, I mean, it is intended gameplay that you are allowed to change jobs when you're in the little meeting area.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
As soon as you leave that area, you're locked into whatever you've picked. But if you die and you're like, okay, our team needs more healing, I'm going to swap to I don't know, Scholar or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's absolutely intended gameplay.
Gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense.
Scholar sucks for PvP. I don't like it.
I don't heal in PvP. Come on.
I like healing on PvP. It makes me feel useful. But you have to click heal, which is kind of not... I mean, I can understand if it's not your cup of tea, but I don't mind it. I much prefer doing mouse over healing just in general. But yeah, I don't know. I like being I've turned the tide with my swift heals, rather than just sitting in the back with a gun pew 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 pew.
So
I'm terrible at PvP in general, so
I feel this is a perfect time to segue into this question since we're talking about PvP. In the live letter, they had brought up that they are adding a new PvP format. They're getting rid of the feast, I guess, in 6.1 or whatever.
Is it the robots?
Something called Crystal Conflict, which, from the way I've heard it described in the live letter and a couple different podcasts, it sounds like it's objective-based PvP, kind of Overwatch-ish in nature, where you have something and you're trying to push it to the other side of the field, but if the other team gets control of it, then they push it to the other way.
I mean, it could be fun, but I don't know. That doesn't... if I want to play Overwatch, I can go play Overwatch, except I don't play Blizzard games anymore.
You're not alone.
I mean, they seem to really like to take formulas from other multiplayer PvP style games and try it out. I don't know if it's the Feast where you do is the one where it's kind of, I don't know, it's you've got lions and robots and you got to protect the mammoths, which I think is supposed to be kind of like League of Legends, but Rival Links.
Yeah.
I've never done the game that it's actually based on, so I have no idea. And I was kind of intimidated to get into it because I'm robots. I don't understand this.
They have the models of things from the Alexander raids. What's not to love? And
when you get into the robots, you get to hear the Alexander music, which is fan-freaking-tastic.
Oh, well, now see, there's reason enough to just do it all right there.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a lot more simple than it seems at first, so don't be too intimidated by it. It's actually a lot of fun. But yeah, if you can get in a robot, get in a robot. And kill the other robots. Don't kill players. Which, it's fun to have something that mixes it up and it's not just capture the flag or capture the crystal or squat on the thing.
Yeah, I'm not a squatter. What can I say? But I'm now mildly more interested in PvP in Final Fantasy XIV than I thought I would be. One, because Frontline Duty Roulette giving that much XP sounds kind of cool, and I'll give this Crystal Conflict thing a shot. I don't think I ever really got myself involved in the Feast or whatever other stuff they had, just because
that's right. The Feast is just the 5v5, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's just an arena map.
Yeah, I never really got into that either.
Yeah, I've just heard from the time I started getting back into Final Fantasy XIV, back in April of this year, the one thing, there are a couple things I would hear all the time. One is, when you get through Realm Reborn, the story's going to get great in Heavensward. Then the other thing I heard is PvP actually sucks. It's poor. It's bullcrap. They're never going to do anything with it.
I think it's just really different than World of Warcraft PvP. It's a lot more how do I put this? So that's more like group effort. It's like you have to go with the crowd. You can't really, because like in World of Warcraft PvP, at least when I used to play, it could, like, a single really good player can turn the tide on most battlegrounds that I remember. And so it's like, oh, I can run off on my own and do my own thing, and like I can sneak into the flag room and capture the flag and run it all the way back before they can get me, but like Final Fantasy PvP doesn't work like that. And I think a lot of people who play PvP and WoW really like to be like that singular hero, the one that like turned the tide and won the game. It doesn't work that way.
Everyone wants to be Michael Jordan, more or less.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, also, just in general, WoW has a much more individualistic attitude in my experience, whereas Final Fantasy is a lot more collaborative and a lot more team-oriented. And so, if you're really into PvP in World of Warcraft, I can see how being like, oh, I run off on my own, I just immediately get killed. This sucks. I don't like this. Like, yeah, you gotta stick with the herd, and you gotta, like, work together as a group. School of Fish! School of Fish!
It's for the herd, not for the horde.
Yep.
For the herd.
The sickly ones get picked off. That's I can't do melee in PvP because it's like, you just run in, you like kill a few people, and then you run out. I'm like, I'm bad at this. I don't know who to target. Also, I try to tab target, so I'm like targeting the person across the friggin' battlefield.
Yeah, that's one of my main problems is the tab targeting doesn't work.
Oh, yeah. No, it doesn't.
World of Warcraft, and I'm just so used to that, and it drives me bananas when I'm trying to, hit the healer right in front of me, and I'm like, come on, cycle to him.
I really think that the tab targeting in Final Fantasy works the opposite as it works in World of Warcraft. Like, World of Warcraft is like, whatever's closest. Final Fantasy is like, whatever's farthest.
Probably not wrong.
The one thing that is keeping me from leveling a healer job, I mean, technically I have one leveled because I have Summer 80, so I have Scholar 80. But
I was going to say, dude, you've got a free one.
I know. But the one thing that's keeping me from playing a healer job is that I primarily play on gamepad. Yes, I have a PC. Yes, I'm playing on a gamepad, and I enjoy it. Final Fantasy XIV feels good on a gamepad. That being said, I don't know how healing works on a gamepad, because it feels like targeting would be a nightmare.
I cannot help you with this at all. I've never played with a gamepad.
Neither have I. My
forever.
Assist.
Yeah, I think that the only way targeting would probably work is I'd have to create, like, special macros and assign them to cross hotbars or something like that in order to target people. And that seems complicated. There
are hot button or key bindings for, like, target specific party members, but like I've never gone into it because I just do mouse over macros.
Yeah.
I'm always like unbinding it. It's like, this will unbind your target 5th party member button. Do you want to proceed? I'm like, yes.
Oh, you know what? This actually makes me think of something. I'm likely not going to explain this correctly. I warn people right now. Have you ever been in a dungeon on a DPS class?
Yes.
I guess... Shut up. Specifically, this would be on, I guess, Red Mage or Summoner. It is kind of really more what this applies to. Where you'll be doing your DPS thing, and a moment comes up where you need to res someone or heal someone, depending on whatever one you are, in a clutch moment. And for some reason, your targeting is not working the way it should. Like, all of a sudden, your whole targeting scheme has changed, and you can't target the right things to save your life. It's like somehow you pressed a certain button or two, and that changed how you target people.
No.
Nope.
It's a gamepad problem, I'm sure.
It must be. Like, click at the person. The spell go to the person.
2 or 3 times right now this has happened to me, and it's always happened in the same dungeon, which almost makes me wonder if it's a dungeon bug issue or something like that. But man, I hate Amarat. I hate, more specifically, I hate the final boss of Amarat. Everything else about that dungeon is fine. The final boss makes me want to scream, because these freaking death beams... Yes, I know there's tells on the death beams, but still, somehow, I could think I'd be standing in a safe place from the death beam, and nope, death beam be hurting me. And it's not fun.
I don't even remember.
It's the giant, it looks like a giant slot machine with a lot of faces on it. And it's got that slowly advancing platform where...
The one where you there's little square spots on the side that you have to move to, and there's no safety walls on there. So as you're moving off of the square side, and this has happened to me 3 or 4 times too, embarrassing me in front of 3 other players, I will run off the square and run just a little bit off the corner and plummet to my doom, and I want to hurt my controller because I'm a dork.
You're a red mage. Just be like, oh, I flipped off it. Sorry.
I'm not the one doing the flipping off at that point, Megan. Oh. Anyway, tangents galore. Where to kind of bring this back to? So, obviously, we're all still playing quite a bit of Final Fantasy XIV. Endwalker's a couple weeks away. I guess I never really got to my reaction to the whole thing. It likely won't surprise you, and if you follow me on Twitter, you probably saw my reaction, which is give them the time that they need to make it right. And quite honestly, if they had said that they were delaying it to January, I would have been like, okay, sure. Because I feel like I'm going to be kind of a broken record echoing things that have been said on other podcasts and other places and stuff like that. But I honestly just agree with this sentiment. It's like, it feels like that dev team has built up so much trust with what they've been able to do since A Realm Reborn that I think for something like this, where it's only being delayed 2 weeks, I think the community, for the most part, is fine with giving that to them. And yes, there are people who scheduled time off that may not be able to get that time off come December 3rd. I was someone who scheduled time off for Endwalker. Fortunately, the only reason why I was able to schedule time off for December 3rd is because I'm the one at work who makes the schedules. So kind of convenient how that works. So I changed my time off a couple of weeks away, but not everyone can do that, and I get that. But I think, in general, a lot of people have been understanding. There are people who definitely got affected by this. I guess the thing that I was just a small bit disappointed in was not the delay, not the people who are upset about the delay because of the work being called off for. I was a little bit disappointed in the very few, and I do say very few, people who got on the case of people who were upset about taking time off for work and now they weren't going to get it because they were expressing their dissatisfaction. It's okay to express dissatisfaction with a delay, guys. The funny thing is, I was seeing the most negative people about this whole delay were the people that were fine with anything, but negative about the people being negative, and they were being more negative. And I'm just like, how does this make sense?
I will say on Reddit, it is kind of a meme that the community has a sort of toxic positivity problem. The meme is like, great game, like best game, you know, like you're never allowed to say anything negative about it, and if you do, like you'll get banned. So there's 2 subreddits for Final Fantasy. One of them is just FFXIV, and then the other one is like shit XIV or something, where people just like do shit posts and like say negative things because it's not allowed on the main one. It's great community, guys. I just came from WoW, great community, and like that's like the thing. Like everybody says that. Like that, yeah, like you're not really, like if you express anything that's like even remotely, or like, oh, you had to do this or that, well, that you're toxic and you should not play this game. And it's like, oh my god. But I think it's kind of funny that like World of Warcraft, let's not beat around the bush, has a reputation for having a very toxic community.
Sure.
Especially in like end game content and like raiding and PvP and all of that. And so it is kind of a huge culture shock to come over to Final Fantasy where, like, you can get banned for giving advice in a mean way. Never mind being like, uninstall, kill yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some people take that a little too far. Or they get really into this is the positive community. We don't get mad about anything. How dare you? Whereas it's like, come on, guys. It's okay to be reasonably upset. Like, let's not take this all the way into toxic positivity.
It's okay to be a little frustrated if you wipe 6 times to Shinryu if you are in mentor roulette, which I'm not, but I have a friend in my free company who just endured that experience, and my sympathies for Sarah who had to go through that, if you're listening. But mentor roulette isn't always that great a feeling when you're the one running it.
Yeah. Oh, the other meme is you don't pay my sub. It's like when you try to give them people any kind of advice, or the other one is like freestyle samurai, or like people just doing whatever, and it's like, I'm playing the game how I want to play it. It's a great game. It's like, no, you're not allowed to even tell them like you correct anybody on anything. It's like, oh, how dare you? This is a positive community. It's like, guys, we need a middle ground here, okay?
I feel like I just feel like I need to interrupt those people and like put up the meme that says, "Sir, this is a Wendy's."
Yeah, the most frustrating thing I see is people who basically don't play Red Mage right, and they do like the super long cast times, like hard cast instead of using dual cast for it.
What are you talking about, man? What are you trying to say, Brandon?
I tried to correct someone on how to do that one time, and I got called an elitist robot.
Oh my god. The big one is also asking healers to do damage in dungeons.
Oh, yes.
Some healers will just be like, I'm just here to heal. You don't pay my sub. Like, oh
hey,
my god.
I've got one to add to this, and I'm the one who does this.
Oh, boy.
With the group that I've been with recently, when we're running dungeons and stuff like that on Summoner, in dungeons, I'll have Ruby Carbuncle out using Garuda stuff, I'll have Ifrit out on the trash and stuff, and they'll be like, "You should have your Garuda out." Be fighting the boss and be like, "You should have your Ifrit out," and like.
I mean, they're not wrong.
My job, I do what I want.
I'm too sweaty. I have to have the right pet out. And I have them color coordinated. I have all the carbuncles. Like, I have the ruby carbuncle for the Ifrit. I have the emerald for the Garuda. And I have the topaz for the Titan. And I will be, like, in a trust by myself, making sure I have the right carbuncle out.
Hold on. Hold the phone, though. In what situation do you have the yellow carbuncle out, though?
Questing? No, that's
guess.
not true. That's not true. I have to have it color coordinated, you know? Sometimes you have a really cute outfit that's yellow, and so you'll get it out for a few screenshots, but oh no, that's not, because sometimes if I have a really cute yellow outfit, I'll make my Ifrit yellow carbuncle, because, you know, cute outfit always wins.
And in about 3 weeks, that won't matter anymore anyway.
So,
true.
I don't know about that, because I think, from what I understand, this whole, there's major changes to Summoner. This is going to be a good segue in us talking about Summoner and stuff like that. But I think the way it works is you still will have your Eggies up to, I don't think you get your Ifrit Garuda Titan summons until sometime between 80 and 90. I don't know if it's level 90 or not. But I think you have your Eggies for a while before you get the big 3.
Yeah, the way it's going to work, it's going to work pretty similarly, except at early levels as an Arcanist, instead of just summoning the giant primals for the big attack, and then your spells get augmented. As a low level Arcanist, you'll be summoning the carbuncles instead, but the gameplay will be very similar. And then once you become a summoner, you'll still summon the little, chicken Garuda, chicken nugget Titan, and little jalapeno pepper Ifrit. And at level 90, they get upgraded to the big beefy primals we all know and love for.
Right.
The gameplay will be entirely similar. And from what I understand, at least at a certain point, the normal carbuncle you run around with, which is not colored, you can glam over it any of the other 3 carbuncles. But for the most part, you'll just be running around with your normal, I think it's supposed to be like a white carbuncle, and it won't do anything other than the 2 buttons that are defensives.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. Somebody who's just like doing the rotation from the PTR, or was it the thing where they let influencers come play it? Where
the media tour server.
Yeah. They're like doing all this stuff and their carbuncle's just like sitting at their feet, and I'm like, oh, emotional support carbuncle.
Yeah, there's like a low level button that gives you the freaking Titan shield, and then I think at level 60 is where they give you the party wide damage boost. You
the
can
DPS
cast.
Buff, right?
But other than that, I mean, and that's true to a carbuncle summon in most Final Fantasy games. It doesn't attack you; it just gives you buffs.
Right.
So I'm fine with that. But otherwise, it's just going to run around being an adorable little cat fox hybrid thing.
Oh, I love them so much. They look squishy, like you could squish their little face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
So the question I want to ask each of you, and I'll give my answer last, is we established in episode 0 that all 3 of us are playing Summoner as our main in Endwalker. Why?
Well, for me, it was a toss-up. I was either going to grind out 10 levels on Sage before doing the Endwalker MSQ, or depending on how good the Summoner change was going to be, I was going to play that. Mm-hmm. Because I played freaking Machinist and Shadowbringers when it got basically revitalized into a brand new job, and I kind of got a taste for it. Like, okay, I want to play a new job because maybe it'll make sense for my character's story. So I'm still kind of up in the air as to whether or not I want to power level Sage through Baja or just start off right away with Summoner. So I haven't quite been able to fully commit to that. But
okay,
I mean, for the most part, it's just because I really like what they've done to Summoner. It's always been my favorite caster job, probably since, I don't know, early or middle of Shadowbringers. And I really want to have a chance to play the new rotation a lot. But at the same time, I really, really like gameplay concepts of Sage. I'm just really nervous about grinding 10 levels before I can do the MSQ. Because me, I want to get that story going as quick as humanly possible.
Sure.
And while I'm not necessarily nervous about healing in dungeons, there's going to be some required trials we have to do. And, healing in that size of a group has always made me kind of nervous unless it's the MSQ roulette.
What about you, Megan?
Well, I've kind of always gone back and forth between magic DPS and physical range DPS. And Summoner was my first main class, and then I switched to Bard, and then Summoner's always the second one that I level up because I also like to heal as Scholar. And so for me, it's like, well, I want to try Sage, but I'm kind of like, I like Scholar, even though right now it feels like the redheaded stepchild. Like everybody else is getting, everyone else is getting so much shiny stuff. So I'm just gonna be there, like,
really.
Well, it's gonna be the same, and I like it now.
That's not the problem. It's gonna be a great, healer. It's just, freaking Astro shiny. Astro gets a bunch of cool new spells and a new seal mechanic for the cards. Sage is brand spanking new. White Mage gets
we're gonna get to explode flowers and be pretty and float in the air.
They get that light well thing or whatever.
Yeah. It's like Scholar's not really getting much in the way that's really flashy, I think that's more of the problem with it.
So I just know I'm gonna macro. I'm fast as fuck, boy. And I'm gonna start rates being like, okay, who's my favorite? Who wants to sprint?
That's my other thing I'm waffling on is I want to level Sage probably second after I get Summoner and the main story quest done. Mm-hmm. But I also know me. I'm gonna want to do all the other role quests as soon as possible. And when you level Summoner, you get Scholar for free. So there's the healing role quest done. Then I get to go back and be like, okay, well, what's going to be in my range? Of course, it's Machinist. What's going to be my tank? I don't know, probably Gunbreaker. What's going to be my melee? We all know that's going to be Reaper. Come on. And it's like, that's 4.5 if you count Summoner and Scholar separately. that I've got to do before I'll ever get around to leveling Sage, because I want to focus on getting the role quests done. They're cool.
Ward, honey.
Yes?
You're snoring. You fell asleep and you're snoring. I love you so much. It's okay.
I couldn't hear it, if that helps.
You're snoring. They couldn't hear you, but I could hear you.
Is that going to become a recurring thing on this podcast? How long until Ward starts snoring?
It's really hot
Ward
in
snoring.
here.
Okay, it's time to wrap it up.
I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry I woke you up. I just...
I'm not even gonna edit this out. It's good.
No.
We live in a studio apartment, okay? It's very small and very warm. And I guess his anime is not very good.
Apartment.
Oh boy. Oh my god. What were we talking about?
I've completely lost track.
I think we were talking about why we wanted to level Summoner
first.
Yes. And
okay.
We're after that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, I'm figure Sage is going to be the next thing that I level. And depending on how much it reminds me of Discipline Priest when I liked Discipline Priest, it will become my main healing. But I also think it's kind of funny for me to be like, I'm leveling 2 barrier healers. If you want something else, get fucked.
And to me, it reminds me of Rift's Chloromancer, which it was a healing class I really freaking loved. Yeah. And I wanted Discipline Priest and WoW to be more like that, and it wasn't. And that's why I freaking want to play Sage so bad.
Well, they never seemed to know what they wanted Discipline Priest to be. It changed like every expansion. My favorite was just do damage and it heals people. And yep. my favorite thing to do was to be like, throw penance at the boss and it like hurts them and heals someone else. So I'm like, oh, the light will judge you. Like if you're good, it heals you. If you're bad, it burns you. I don't judge. The light judges.
Blame the light. So for me, a summoner is basically the job that I started out this most recent run in back in April. And yes, I'm leveling up Red Mage now, and I've also got an alt which has a Paladin going on. And I'm almost positive that I will do Paladin and Red Mage to level 90. As far as other jobs go, I don't know yet. It's kind of wacky for me to even have like more than one job or class or whatever, because I was pretty much a one class person back in WoW, but Summoner is just kind of what I began this experience with, and just considering the storyline and stuff like that, my main character has been primarily a summoner for most of the run, and it just feels fitting that he ends the run as a summoner, just as far as the story goes. So yeah, MSQ speaking, definitely summoner from beginning to the end. I do love kind of the theme that they had with like Shadowbringers are promoting the Dark Knight, and then Endwalker, Paladin and stuff like that, which is kind of reminiscent of some Final Fantasy IV shenanigans going on. And that's pretty cool, but for me, it's just, I started this journey as a summoner, and that's how I'm going to end it. So it's not, even if Summoner had not received the big overhaul that it's going to get, I still think I'd stay on Summoner, because that's just how I began the journey, and I feel that's how it should end.
It's also just a very Final Fantasy class.
Yeah, it really is.
And especially in the Realm Reborn, where you're going around beating up the primals, and it's like, haha, take your power! Like, it's cool. Mm-hmm. It's got the good flavor.
It's got that Mega Man feel to it.
Yeah!
That is one thing I'm going to be... that is one thing that I'm kind of curious about, just in general, like, looking ahead, and you can't do a whole lot of looking ahead past Endwalker, because who knows exactly what the heck is going to happen. But I wonder, it's like, will they do anything more with primals? Yeah, I mean, yes, this whole Zodiac Hydaelyn thing's going to come to an end, but will there be new primals to deal with? Are they going to mess with primals anymore? It's just, I have a lot of questions about what they're going to do as far as like antagonists and regions and stuff. I do know that there's 2 regions that are mentioned like in the geography that we haven't been to yet, and that will likely go to those places in an upcoming expansion or 2 after Endwalker. But it's so weird heading into this Endwalker expansion for me, and it feels to just make an analog to World of Warcraft. Legion felt like this big climactic thing in a way, because it was like the final conflict with the Burning Legion, and everything was kind of coming to a satisfying conclusion there. And this feels like that, but even more so turned up to 11, and you just kind of have to wonder, as excited as I am for Endwalker, I'm even more intrigued about what they plan to do in 6.1 and 6.2, because all the big stuff happens in 6.0, and then it's all new story arcs going further after that.
Can't wait.
I would say that there's always going to be primals, because primals are just like really strong will channeled into energy, which then takes form, which is like why we have all kinds of primals in every expansion. And like, Hydaelyn and Zodiac are basically primals themselves, but like they are like the most ancient and the oldest, but they're not like the source of primalness.
Right. That was a revelation that came out through Shadowbringers, right? I remember hearing that I guess that revelation was something that they spoiled in the launch trailer for Shadowbringers, and it caught people by surprise.
Well, it had been a fan theory for a really long time. And, because there's a lot of similarities there. And there was a really popular fan theory of like, Hydaelyn's a primal, and the reason why you can't be tempered is because you're already tempered.
That's what the echo is!
Yeah.
I'm sick of that.
And so, yeah, I don't know. Also, there's just like so many crazy things with how the world works. Like when you're crafting, the reason why you use crystals is that you're actually channeling things into being. You're not like sewing things together. You're like gathering the materials, and then you're like forcing what you want to be there to come into being. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And so like that's just how it be.
Works.
And so like, yeah, I don't think there'll ever be like, anytime that we run into a culture or people that's in dire straits, they're gonna get some crystals together and they're gonna summon a primal for us to fight, and it's gonna be awesome.
There must always be primal.
I am hoping that if Endwalker is the end of the Hydaelyn Zodiac arc, I'm hoping that this leads to the beginning of the 12 arc. Like, there's all this rich mythology about the 12 gods, right? And they're referenced to quite a bit. But I think as far as the history lines go, I think the 12 gods, like, abandon the people as far as being a presence directly among them around, like, the second or third age or whatever, if I remember Jesse Cox's video about that stuff. So that said, what if the whole Hydaelyn Zodiac arc coming to an end is kind of the catalyst for the 12 being like, okay, we can come back now?
That makes sense.
I mean, the Alliance Raid series in Endwalker is supposed to explore more of that history, so maybe. We'll see. I, for one, can't wait to see what happens.
I'm sure whatever happens will have been hinted at a lot previously, and we'll all go, ah!
So
yep, because that's just how
about
this game works.
Well, I think that pretty much brings us to the end of this episode. I thought this was going to be the last episode before the launch of Endwalker, but hey, we get one more time to get hyped about this before it launches, and I am going to attempt I do not have it 100% confirmed yet, because it would require us recording possibly on a different day. But I'm going to attempt to get someone on this show to join us for episode 2. You probably already know who it is if you've been listening to me and paying attention long enough. It requires some scheduling, because as we're recording this, he's actually recording something right now, so we'll see what happens there, but stay tuned for that. Either way, the next episode is if the hype is this big right now, I can't imagine what the hype is going to be like in a couple weeks when we're like, let's go, let's do this already. When we'll have all of our jobs will be up to level 80. Megan will have 3 perfect chocobos, 1 brown, 1 gold, 1 red.
Oh God! Don't curse me like that. No brown chocobos.
All right.
Choco Browns?
Well, until next time, Megan, where can people find you as far as social media and all that stuff?
Oh my gosh. Mostly just Twitter at CatMomMegan. MEAGAN. It's the Irish version.
It's Irish.
And I have like all my stuff linked from there, and you can email me at what did I do? At Vegan Reborn? Yes, veganreborn@gmail.com. Although I don't know why you would email me. You are welcome to. You can just be like, hey, what's up? And I'll be like, what's up?
And Brandon, how about you?
Mostly on Twitter. I'm at the BMAT, THEBMATT. Same username on Tumblr, where I show off a lot of my Final Fantasy XIV creative stuff. Just check out either of those places and you'll figure out what the heck I'm up to.
All right. As for me, you can find me on Twitter at RoadWCR. You can find this podcast on Twitter at A Podcast Reborn. And you can email us at apodcastreborn@gmail.com. If we have emails to read, next episode may be the time where we read them. So if you have any questions, comments, if you want to join in on the debate about Graha Tia or Emmett Selk, and whether you agree or disagree with our husbando choices, we'll have the waifu discussion next week.
Oh, okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Send in your waifu pics. We'll start a waifu war.
There you go. Oh no, the Waifu Wars. That could truly be the end of days. As always, the theme for our show is Alex Moukala's imagined boss theme for Endwalker. Do check out his YouTube channel for some more great music. I should also mention that is a collab with Husky, who just recently put out HuskyBytheGeek, that's the name you want to look for on YouTube, put out an amazing cover of the Diamond Weapon music that if you like Diamond Weapon music and you like rock, you're in for a treat if you check it out on YouTube. So
it's so good.
It's really good. Of course, that music, or derivatives of Final Fantasy XIV music you hear on this podcast, it all belongs to Square Enix. No copyright infringement is intended. I cannot wait for our next episode, possible guest, even more Endwalker hype, and the ever-approaching Waifu Wars. Cannot wait.
We'd have to wait like 10 episodes for Waifu Wars.
Oh no, the Waifu Wars are serious business. They'll be upon you before you know it.
I figured by now we'd at least have you ripping on me for having 6 alts.
Oh, give me time. Thank you all for listening. For Megan, for Brandon, and of course for Butterscotch. This is Brian Black saying, until next time, may your loot rolls be high, your glamour fantastic, and your duties always complete.
A smile better suits a hero.